welcome everyone to our newest episode of Cinema Dopes. We're here checking out the Superman movies, except we're only gonna
You're in
watch.
the
What's up?
you're in luck because get prepared for a very super episode of Cinema
Where am I?
Who are you? What is this?
What time are we in?
But yeah, for as lead up to the new Superman movie coming out by James Gunn,
Very excited.
we're watching. That's gonna be a really fun one. I feel May is gonna be a really big month for movies. I think. Well, it already has been so far.
So you say that, but I think one of them's really gonna take over, and that might be Superman.
So
that's a weird way to say Lilo and Stitch.
Is it actually like doing pretty well, or is it projected to do really well?
At the time of recording, it's not out yet, but all I say is that it's at my number one prediction for the summer box office. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just got done watching Superman from 1978, directed by Richard Is it Richard Donner or Donner?
Donner.
Donner.
Like the deer.
Richard Donner. Richard Donner, starring Marlon Brando, the most important character in the movie. But yeah, Marlon Brando, Christopher Reeves, Margot Kidder, Gene Hackman, to name a few. And yeah, I just got done watching. That was the first time I watched this.
Like, it's the first time you ever seen it?
Oh, okay. I thought in bits and pieces beforehand, but this was the first time I watched it like all the way through, and I had a really good time with it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
what's your history? What's our history with Superman here, Seb?
I'll go first. So, like, you know, Superman 78, I always admired it from afar. I never watched it personally. I was more of a Batman 89 kind of fellow. Yeah. But I do appreciate, like, everything going behind this as, like, even with the marketing and, like, how big of a deal this was. Like, you will believe a man can fly, and, like, you never really shown, like, Christopher Reeves in, like, the suit or anything. You just showed the logo, the symbol, and that was, like, this was, like, the original, like, 89 Batman, where all they showed was, like, the symbol. Like, that's just how big of a deal this was.
Yeah.
To be happening. And, yeah, like, all, like, everyone still looks back on this movie like this is the best they could have possibly done it for 1978. Like, Christopher Reeves with perfect casting, R.I.P. Gene Hackman. It was just like an amazing time of just like the last time Superman was kind of seen with like whimsy, like just like the fun aspect of being Superman before Zack Snyder saw it. It was like, I'm gonna make this gritty. What if we were scared of Superman?
See,
aren't I clever?
See, like, I'll get into the whole Zack Snyder stuff in a second. Also, when we get later on what we're gonna be watching.
Well, for me, that's where I'm at. You can go.
Well, no, I was gonna ask Derek what was your history with Superman, with the movie and the character.
With this movie, not really much. Like, I knew my mom was always a fan of this one, but I didn't watch it for the first time until like it was either last year or the year before. Sometime recently, I watched it for the first time. But the character itself, I've talked about it on several episodes of the podcast already about how, for me, like I guess the two pieces of Superman media that are like the most like personal to me. One is the 1941 Fleischer short, the very first one, The Mad Scientist, because that like the animation and the music of that one has just been like ingrained in my mind like since I was like 5. And the not so great Superman Returns video game for the PS2 and Xbox, which honestly, like since we're not gonna review Superman Returns this year, I do have to say at least with that game, that soundtrack is like also another thing that's been like ingrained in my mind. Like I absolutely love that game soundtrack. The game itself is like pretty clunky and weird and doesn't really make any sense, but I have a lot of reverence for it, and I feel like just having the exposure of those two things growing up gives me appreciation for watching a movie like this later down the line. I think like overall the movie is like pretty alright for what it is. Like I don't have like a super big connection to it, but yeah. Again, like viewing it from the lens of like this is like the late 70s, like I can see why everyone like loved this movie so much back then. And Christopher Reeves is like such a great Superman. He is the Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, well, with kind of similar to you, Derek, I didn't really watch this movie. I've seen it like once before we watched it for the podcast, but I've seen Man of Steel. I've seen bits and pieces of Superman 2. I have not watched 3 or 4 or Returns starring I can't remember his name. Anyway, but the more I was like involved or like knew more about Superman other than like general public, like everyone knows who Superman is. He's like one of the big 3 superheroes that every kid on the playground knows about.
He's
And
like the superhero.
yes, it's like him, Batman, and Spider-Man. Like those 3 are like the big 3 that everyone talks about. At least before the MCU came out and everyone just knows everyone in Marvel. But anyway, um
Yeah.
but yeah, with Superman, the most I knew from the character were the animated shows in like the 2000s and like 90s or whenever those were like coming out with like Justice League Unlimited, and the Superman animated series. More so the first two. And while Superman was never really a character that I was like super super but not like really like he didn't he wasn't really someone I like kind of related to. I got how he was. I can understand how people like this character, but he just never gravitated towards me as like this amazing person until like fairly recently. And this movie just like like brings that out more with because this movie has a lot of heart and I really dig it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
this kind of just goes back to like the idea of just because everyone's clamoring again for just like I want Superman that's just like a bright spot in a world of like darkness. Like he's just a
Yeah.
symbol of hope.
Yeah.
And I felt like this is the original idea for Superman before it kind of got like muddied a little bit with everything, especially with not even just on Zack Snyder, but just like everyone's perception of
Mhm.
superheroes. Like the MCU has kind of like added like bleakness to it. Even
You
The
can
Boys, Invincible,
well
like
honestly,
every
sorry, not to cut you off. You can really blame the New 52 for doing that.
Mm.
yeah.
Because when that comic run was like starting, they really changed Superman's character from like this whimsy, more like not so serious but like hopeful character to like basically what we saw in the Zack Snyder Superman movies or the more recent animated Superman movies where he's like Death of Superman, like stuff like that. Like that was probably the most serious comic they had before New 52, and then since then they made him more of a Jesus allegory. And it's just
Uh,
like
Yeah, the New 52 was after the Flashpoint storyline, right?
yes, I believe so because they reset the timeline
Mhm.
afterwards.
it just got so complicated that it's like screw it, too much continuity, rebooting it again. New 52,
Which I get
brand
it.
new heroes.
Yeah, I get it with that. I understand the reasoning behind that because that does provide a new fresh point for everyone who wants to get into comic books and like start somewhere. But I feel like I don't know. I think there's so much of comic books around that there shouldn't be this ideology of just hey, it's too complicated. There like not to get too off topic, but the first thing I think of is when like John Barenthal was coming in as the Punisher, and how when he first got announced for Daredevil, he went to a comic book store and the guy there was like, "I know who you are. You need to read this, this, and this. Don't mess this up." And that was all the advice he got from that guy. And then he read those comics, and that's when he started to get more into the character of the Punisher. Like if an actor can do that, an average person can also do that and just kind of start almost anywhere with comic books and like go any direction they want to go. Whether it's based off what movies came out, what those comic books are, what's based on with those comic books, like stuff like that.
Mhm.
It's not that it's a big thing to jump into, but it's not as vast and as scary as people think.
Right.
Do you do you think there is a promotional picture that they do with every fucking actor who becomes a superhero where they're reading the comic book? Do you think there's that for Christopher Reeves?
Where's the one with the Dwayne Johnson reading Black Adam.
Dude, he is probably the only actor that didn't do that because he does not give a shit about Black Adam. He just wanted a character he could somewhat play so he could fight Superman, even though like he gets his ass kicked by Superman on a daily basis.
Not even just Superman, also by technically Zachary Levi's Shazam.
Yeah.
Does he even read? Can he read?
No, he has someone read to him. It's like he has
the
a little.
Says he doesn't read.
He has a little he has like an intern or something. Just like brings him scripts and he goes, what can I say except you're welcome? It's like I love it. I want to be that character.
I'm gonna make you a star.
I'm gonna make you a star.
Yeah.
But anyway, with Superman, the story of this movie, like we said, was very much like a lot of heart. It's very much a relic of its time, and like while yes, the effects don't look great, it's still a very charming movie to watch. Like it's not something that it's not. If you're gonna sit down and be cynical towards this movie, then you just don't understand how to have fun, and that's coming from me.
Yeah. And like even then for the effects again, like this is just always what I come back to. It's just like what were they gonna do?
Exactly.
During the time they did I think like even then this was like still pretty groundbreaking for like everything that they tried to pull off, like especially with all the wire work that was happening, because a lot of the time he is there like on a wire flying away.
Dude, him catching the helicopter with Lois Lane, that still looks good.
Yeah,
I
like
he could just fly.
No, I still believe a man can fly. Okay, he was flying. Maybe he was actually flying.
Maybe.
Or maybe.
Wait,
can we talk about how Christopher Reeves really is like if Superman was real kind of actor?
Yeah.
Like the
really
behind the scenes pictures of like him just in costume. It's like, yeah, this would be like an actual photo if he did exist in real life, Superman.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the documentary that HBO and Warner Bros. Released last year about, not HBO, CNN. They did that one Christopher Reeves documentary. Just because like I didn't really know a lot about the dude, so like that doc like really goes into how he was at this time portraying this character and like getting like acclimated to like doing like a big role like this, and like how he like carried the rest of his life like following this role, and like it's so fascinating. Like he was such a fascinating guy.
Yeah.
The documentary is called Super Space Man. Not like Spaceman, like
no, there's a
Super Slash. I thought it was Slash.
Was it like Super Dash Man?
It's Super Slash Man.
Reveal.
It's Super Slash Man.
I believe you owe me $2.
You owe me a soda.
But yeah.
Damn it.
Do you want to know what's...
I'm a fraud.
Do you want to know what's not super? And also to like segue into paying someone money. Do you want to know how much Marlon Brando was paid for Jor-El in this movie? It was technically
I would love to know.
It's technically for both movies because Richard Donner was working on this and Superman 2 back to back.
That's right.
Yeah, he was paid $3.7 million.
Wow.
And how long? How much is his collective screen time for all?
Like 10 minutes. Like 10 minutes, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my god.
Let me double check.
Can you look up Christopher Reeve's salary?
I was gonna do that next. Yeah.
Yeah.
I probably wasn't much, honestly. I mean, like, cause especially at the time, because like no one really knew who Reeves was. So I don't imagine him making any more than Brando did. So
he was paid all of that money, and he couldn't even be bothered to memorize his script. He had to look at a script instead of a baby.
Yep.
How can you read this?
There are no pictures.
Pictures.
He had a total of 15 minutes.
So you were close.
Okay, now the big reveal. How much was Christopher Reeves paid? We're very professional. We do our research on the podcast, not before.
We do it live.
We do it live. So
information from the Cinema Dope scholar, whoever that is.
Gemini.
He was paid $250 million for
Oh
the
my
first
god.
movie.
Yep, I
but,
just got it working on my phone. Yep.
but for all 4 movies he was in, he got paid a total of $8 million. But still, it still
Brando
stands.
Brando got 3.7 and Gene Hackman got 2 million for this movie.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Oh
'cause
my goodness.
they were the stars. They were the star.
They were high profile.
Wow.
So yeah, enough talking about the salary. So it starts off on Krypton, showing, which that explains how they were able to like already cast the Zod gang into the
Yeah.
movie. It shows Zod gang getting banished to the Phantom Zone.
Yes, the
Dimension?
Phantom Zone, yes.
Yes, which is the effect that they was it established how the effect looked beforehand, like when you're in the Phantom Zone, or did
No,
they just make that on the spot?
I think they just did. No, I think they just did it on the spot because like this was like the first like one of the first ever like Superman movies. Like there's the one that was in like the 40s you said.
No, I know, but I mean like in the comics.
Oh yeah, no, this wasn't. It was just like they took like a ray gun. Like Superman full on has like a ray gun that he like puts on his chest and he blasts someone with it, and they just disappear. They go to the Phantom Zone. That's it.
Fuck you, to the Phantom Zone. So yeah, so Zod gang gets banished for their actions. Hopefully they'll never come back again. And then it just cuts to Marlon Brando, who is sleeping through his performance, wearing a space blanket as a suit.
Yeah.
As he should.
Yeah.
And he's just going through. It's like, this kid is gonna, boy, you are gonna do great things.
My boy is going to do great things.
You have many trials ahead of you.
I am.
My boy.
I am.
Press the triangle button to fly.
Press up. Press plus.
Yeah. But yeah. Can I talk about how, despite what we'll see later on with Krypton and Man of Steel, Krypton doesn't look that great either here. There's so much white, there's so much glass. It just, how is this habitable?
Damn, bitch, you live like this?
Oh, I thought it was ice.
Yeah, there's so much like ice and glass. Like
I thought it was ice at first, but I think it's just a lot of crystals.
How can you live like this?
There's no pictures.
Yeah, there's no grass. There's nothing to live off of.
It's not this movie, but like that idea right there just makes me it's always made me confused about in Superman Returns how like Luthor's whole plan is to like make a new continent with like the power of kryptonite, but it's like it's just a bunch of like glass and crystals. Like what are you doing? Like what is this? I don't know.
Yeah.
I never really understood the whole like thing with Krypton, even in this movie. Like I don't know. Like and this movie isn't as important because it's just to establish that like like Superman's like an alien from this place. It's just supposed to like get the story going, so it's not as important. But I don't know. When you get deeper into stuff like Man of Steel, it gets like weird to me.
Even in the animated series, they actually really flesh out Krypton because like the first like 2 episodes aren't even about Superman. They're about like Krypton itself and Jor-El, and they kind of like because it more connects with the main villain of that show being Brainiac, and how he basically is the biggest deceiver of the entire galaxy, where he's like, I'm just this computer that is here to help you, but I'm also secretly learning all your knowledge and how your species works, and then I'm going to sabotage your planet to make it explode, and I'm going to leave before it explodes. And then Jor-El like picks up on it, and he's like, "Hey guys, he's doing something bad here," and then they don't believe him, so he decides to send Kal-El to Earth.
I just imagine Jor-El like the council's just having their own room, and you just hear like a knock on the door, and him like awkwardly peering in. It's like, guys, you're gonna want to see this.
Opens the door, and the world's just on fire.
Fucking Russell Crowe dead.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Russell Crowe did play Jor-El.
So, yeah. So anyway, in the movie, he's like, "You're gonna do great things. We're gonna send you back down to Earth for like 2 years.
Yeah,
you're gonna become a big boy." In which he does, he sends them out in this giant space pod that apparently the Kryptonians, even though they're super high intelligence,
didn't make
like,
a sunroof for him.
Didn't make that, and like they didn't make capsules for themselves to escape when they were attached to their planet when it was dying.
Or that too, yeah.
Which they delve on that like planet dying scene a lot. You just see a lot of Kryptonians just fall into the lava, and it's pretty scary.
Yeah. And
But enough of that. So Kal-El, you see his journey onto Earth.
he passes Metro Man and Megamind on his way there.
Yeah, Megamind just sees him, just blows a raspberry, but they go their separate ways.
Yeah. They go to different universes.
Through Megamind. It was actually pretty grisly to see a baby die like that.
I know. Richard Donner is a crazy guy. No wonder they didn't have him come back for the second movie. Yeah. But and he crashes on Earth where we have not Ian Holm playing Pa Kent.
Yeah, it really did. We thought for the longest time it was Ian Holmes, but that didn't make sense like chronologically with like especially compared to like when Alien was released.
Yeah, because it was like what, the same year, like the year before Alien came out.
Around that. Yeah, I think this came out, I think they were both 78.
Gotcha.
Wait, which one?
The first Alien.
Alien.
No, that was 79.
Oh. So it could have been him. So it could have been him.
He's too old.
Hey, they could put makeup on him.
Not good enough makeup.
I don't know. They put pretty convincing makeup on Lois Lane near the end.
Yeah, I don't know. I think bro was just too young at the time.
Yeah, probably.
Regardless.
Either way, but yeah, they meet. They find baby Kal-El and adopt him to be Clark Kent. And then flash forward to Clark Kent to him on the football field where he's basically the water boy or whatever.
Yeah, they don't even bother with him. And this is why like a nice humble superhero who like he has his powers, but he's just playful with it. He chases down trains, he scares people on said trains, he jumps past people, he runs like he's on a harness being trolled by a car, which I think is how they did the effect. But yeah, they're still trying to like show the whimsy and scale of like and power of Superman like early on, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely like my favorite segment of the movie. Like honestly, like from the point where he arrives on Earth all the way through like later in the movie when he's like saving people, like that this whole chunk is like probably my favorite part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
It's just great, just Superman shenanigans and just like just going a bit forward here, just like Superman just saving cats from trees. Like no job is too like small for Superman to do. Like he's always there to just help everybody out, and it's really sweet.
Never saw Superman try to file someone's taxes though. He can fly, he's super strong. He's not that smart though.
Yeah, there's his physically no bounds. Mentally, you can. That's for Batman to do.
He looks at your W-2 and he's like, I can't do this.
Fuck, it is an invoice. So I need to set up an LLC?
What is an LLC?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Superman, it jumps forward. Well, actually, he comes back home to the Kent estate, plays a bit with his father. He's like, "I'll race ya."
I'll race ya.
That's the kill word for Jonathan Kent as he collapses. And I thought he was like having arthritis. Unfortunately, no, he had the opposite. He had a fucking stroke, and I was just like being very rude about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shame of you.
Shame.
Yeah. So anyway, we skipped the most lonely looking funeral ever, where like only 4 people show up to Jonathan's.
I thought Norman Osborn's funeral looked bad and very lonely. There's like
dog. This is fucking.
There's like only
crickets.
Yeah, there was like 4 people. There was 2 random people, and then Clark and Ma Kent, and that was it.
Yeah.
I guess you could say it was a Smallville. That didn't work. I'm sorry. I've been demoted.
Yeah. So anyway, Daily Planet.
Hard cuts to totally not New York, Metropolis.
So what about the Fortress of Solitude?
Oh yeah, he does go to the Fortress of Solitude first.
He just casually walks over to the Fortress
Oh
of
yeah,
Solitude.
because he has like a green, because Jor-El gave him like a green crystal, and I'm thinking like, oh, is that kryptonite? Like he's like giving him
The Forbidden Jolly Rancher.
the Forbidden Jolly Rancher. He should put a sticky note on. It's like, don't eat this.
That won't stop me.
And yeah,
It's like that one kid is just like, so I'm eating Jolly Ranchers, right? Just bites right through it.
it's like
Man can't
Derek.
physically do that.
It's like Derek when
Yeah.
he finds the Jar Jar
Eating
popsicle.
plastic.
Or yeah, that too. Eating
No,
plastic.
I actually do bite Jolly Ranchers.
Do you actually?
Oh my god, Derek.
Like, you remember the jar of Jolly Ranchers? I would just eat all of them in one
Oh my
bite.
god, that's right.
Your jaw unhinged like a snake. It was pretty alarming.
How are your teeth not broken?
Uh,
Are you Superman?
Derek, are you Superman? I'm Superman. The Iron Giant just putting on the S symbol. That was the closest we ever got to Vin Diesel being Superman. So he casually walks over to the Fortress of Solitude, where his Zordon Marlon Brando head is like, I grant you the power of Superman. I gave you the suit. Which I thought they were gonna have his mom make the suit, but I think that was just like a 50s thing.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I think that was a 50s thing.
Probably.
But yeah,
so
how he discovers the Fortress of Solitude is actually kind of funny. He just full on chucks this green rock, this green crystal, and it just forms. And he's just like, huh, okay. But yeah, then Marlon Brando's like, I give you this suit, and now you're Superman. And he flies out of the Fortress of Solitude. And then it hard cuts to Metropolis, where we meet Lois Lane.
Lois Lane, a dyslexic journalist.
A dyslexic journalist, even though, like, how?
To be fair, I did bring up, like, especially also with typewriters. You know what you did when you messed up on a typewriter?
You had to restart.
No, you have to put white out on it. You have to paint on your paper.
Oh yeah. I never
so-
used a typewriter, so I don't know.
Yeah, no wonder the Daily Planet was struggling before Clark showed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get introduced to Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, the Daily Planet, just typical happenings happening, and then Clark Kent shows up, who definitely isn't Superman. Do not look into it. He just has glasses, and I bet.
Well, his hair is also
if you took
different.
it is different. His posture's different. He is definitely trying. Christopher Reeves is doing a good job being different.
Yeah.
He meets up with Lois Lane. They talk for a bit, and Lois is showing him the ropes. They're on the streets of New York, in which you get the funniest mugger ever happen. Like, the funniest mugging scenario of, like, just around the alleyway with the curly finger.
Come here!
Get over here. Come here.
Get over here. Just has two hands.
Too.
I kind of wish that they only did the gag of only showing the guy's hands and that was it.
Yeah, he's just always off screen as it's happening. It's like some How to Basic shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Superman catches the bullet that he shoots at them because Lois tricked the mugger to when she drops her purse and then kicks him in the face. But
yeah, what a catch too. Like, oh my god.
He's faster than a speeding bullet, Seb.
Hey Doobie, that is what they say.
That is how it do, Yugi.
Is this how we get introduced to Lex Luthor, or is it after the saving montage?
It's after. Well, I think we are introduced.
Because like after the mugging, like don't we see like the two dudes who like go to like?
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, and Lex Luthor full on murders a guy by pushing him into the tracks of a oncoming train.
I was not expecting to see that, to be honest. I was actually pretty thrown off.
Yeah, that's like oddly dark for this movie.
Yeah,
I think this brings up like my biggest issue with the movie, which kind of sucks because it's also like it's something I simultaneously like, but also I think brings down the movie is just the whole Lex Luthor thing. Because it's like on one hand, it's like I love Gene Hackman, like he's great. I just love seeing him and like these like dumb henchmen like try to formulate this plan to stop Superman. But at the same time, I feel like from this point on, it kind of becomes the Lex Luthor show, where it's like mostly just like him just being like weird and goofy, it's like, yeah, at the same time, like I kind of love that, but then also it's like it doesn't really feel like a Superman movie anymore. We're taking like a lot of time away from him just to
Yeah.
like spend all this time with him. Maybe just because of like him being a popular actor at the time and like the studio just
Lex,
being like, oh, we got to have a lot of this, but I don't know. I think that like really ruins the pacing in my opinion.
We
it's Lex
need
Luthor's day off.
we need gags. We need Gene Hackman gags.
We need a funny comic relief sidekick for Gene Hackman to go off of. Which is he in the comics? His funny little mentor, or his
It
funny
doesn't
little
exist.
sidekick.
He doesn't exist in the
He
comics really though.
calls him Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
The Luthor.
Yeah, the only like actual sidekick that's close to Lex Luthor is his bodyguard Mercy, and that's it. And even then, like she's a competent bodyguard that like and chauffeur that just constantly protects him. And even then, like she doesn't show up much. She shows up in the comics, she shows up in the animated show, and then that's kind of it. Like we haven't really seen her like at all, except for I guess that's technically her in Batman v Superman, but she dies, so it doesn't matter. Who cares?
I feel with that movie, nothing really matters because I mean, the whole Jimmy thing, that's just everybody in BVS. Like
Yeah.
the parallels to the comics like are very like inconsequential, really.
Yeah. But anyways, I do agree. I think the issue is that with Lex Luthor, it's just that no one knows how to write Lex Luthor. We again, listener, this is before we watch the James Gunn Superman, so maybe I'm wrong here with Nicholas Hoult. Maybe he's the key to all of this. But Gene Hackman is fine as Lex Luthor. I think he'd be better if he was just on his own. And he's a billionaire, by the way, that has his own company. That's like the major thing about Lex Luthor that they just don't really do with this movie.
LexCorp. They don't talk about LexCorp.
Yeah, they don't talk about LexCorp at all. He's in a secret lair that's underneath the subway. Not like the restaurant chain, like an actual like metropolitan subway.
And that'd be interesting.
That would be very interesting if he pushes the guy into the tracks. It's just a big sandwich. but yeah, he's in this underground lair, and like it would be cool that like it's a cool lair, I will admit, but like Lex Luthor is supposed to be this very public figure that is just openly hates Superman and doesn't care. Like he will gladly show everyone like, yeah, I don't like this guy because he's an alien and because he's not this perfect being. He can be human just like all of us, and you guys can't see that because I cannot believe that there's anyone better than me. And that's like Lex Luthor's whole deal with hating Superman. He's petty. He's a petty motherfucker. But in this movie, he just comes off as the least buffoon of all the buffoons out of that trio.
Yeah, but in a way, he still kind of works just because it's just like he is kind of your typical like evil like business type guy. But I mean, with the whole idea of Superman being this symbol of truth and justice and peace. It still works for the movie's message, honestly. And yeah, again, Gene Hackman's great. So like a part of me just like doesn't even mind at all because we get to watch Gene Hackman.
Yeah, I will say I think
it's Gene Hackman shenanigans, honestly. But
yeah, I think he could do the character. He could definitely do Lex Luthor as a character. It's just that didn't feel like Lex Luthor. That just felt like, well, it may have felt like the old cartoons of Lex Luthor, like Super Friends or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Superman heroism montage that starts off with the helicopter scene.
Great. That's great.
Which has it's honestly a great scene of just like the helicopter going haywire. Lois Lane's in trouble. Superman comes in, saves the day, and you get some really nice effects of just like him picking up the helicopter, putting it down, and you get shades of Spider-Man 1 where it's just like, "Who are you?" And
a friend.
I wish he said, "You know who I am." Yeah, and he just says a friend.
Yeah.
And it just goes around thwarting boat robbery, saving saving cats from trees.
Stopping a guy from climbing up a tower with his suction
that's right,
cups.
the suction cup bandits. Thank God we don't get more of those. Yo, dude, I'm just gonna say, if Slipknot was in this universe, wouldn't stand a chance. They wanted They thought Slipknot could have beat fucking Superman in the Suicide Squad. What are we gonna do with the Superman threat?
Slipknot, the man who can climb anything, dies in 5 minutes.
But he can climb anything. It's so stupid. Fucking Slipknot. Yo, I hope Slipknot comes back in James Gunn's universe.
I hope so.
That'd be really funny.
Get one of the actors from fucking from Reservation Dogs. That'd be funny. he can be good.
Get the guy that was in
Yeah, so yeah, the montage happens, and I think this is when Superman tries to introduce himself to Lois Lane.
Yeah.
Clark Kent sets up a date with Lois, and he shows up first as Superman. It's like, you don't want lousy bum-ass soy boy Clark Kent. You want Chad Superman.
Yeah.
And you have a really sweet montage of him just flying around, just having a good time. And this adds more to like the little whimsy era. Derek, you mentioned that like from the beginning of the movie to him saving people is like your favorite part of the movie. What do you say about like past the Lois Lane part, like onward?
Oh, I would include this scene as well too, because I really like this flying scene where just like going around like all over, I guess basically all over the world flying around. I think it's really...
can show you.
Yeah, let's say it's a lot like Aladdin.
Yeah, minus the singing, but
yeah,
and dropping potentially.
True. But yeah, no, I like this scene a lot, and it makes me curious of how James Gunn will do his flying scenes in the new movie. That's always like the one part I'm always like really curious about, is like how like each director like approaches Superman's flight, because I really liked despite what you can say about the evil man Bryan Singer, I do like the flying sequences in Superman Returns a lot too. But yeah, I think the foundation is here in this movie, and just like how, like what you said, Seb, like just how whimsical this sequence is. And
John Williams' score, by the way.
The score. That's the life of the movie is like that.
It's
score.
like punctuates everything, especially with just like the iconic Superman theme. Like that's the theme that everyone goes with, and like it is just as iconic as like the Batman or like Spider-Man score, like probably even more so. Of just like how to handle a Superman and just show bombastic, like this is Superman, like he can do anything except what you see later on at first.
He could do anything, but he's not a doctor, so he couldn't save Pa Kent when he had a stroke. Nor
do that now.
Nor can he file your taxes, and nor can he really stop some people from an earthquake.
He could probably be a really good like family doctor, because he could just do X-ray vision. It's like, yeah, it's terminal. That'd be $500.
Oh my god, yeah, wait, what's Clark Kent doing, bro? Why is he being a reporter? Like, why wouldn't he just have his day job be like a family doctor or whatever? And he's like, hey, I have this new machine that you can't get any sort of like radiation on you. I just have to stand here and look at you, and I can diagnose you.
Imagine having the powers of a god, and it's like, now I'll just be a physician. I'll be a male nurse.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be conspicuous. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why he's the Daily Planet boy.
Yeah.
He could have made a good salary as well.
Dude, he just imagine Clark Kent just on like around like in the pit, like in that show, just like rolling around, like rolling people in and out, just like constant, like and he gets overwhelmed. He's like going super fast, like from room to room, and diagnosing people. So, yeah, should we talk about like the main climax of the movie? Is there anything else to talk about? I mean, there is the whole there's like, I will say the movie is 2 hours long, it doesn't feel like 2 hours to
It
me.
actually went by pretty fast, to be honest. I think the only
Uh,
reason I felt a little bit of the time is just because it's like kind of a
The
bit late right
only
now, but
scene that I think took way too long, and honestly is probably why it could have felt long, is when Lex Luthor and his two buffoons are rewiring the missile. That whole
mm,
segment takes way too long to do when it could have just been like, I don't know. It just says he does it.
yeah, I feel like a lot of stuff like that, that's like a lot of the bloat I'm talking about. Because I still feel like this movie could have been like an easy below 2 hours movie and still be great.
Yeah.
And if you just like trim like a lot of like the scenes like that, just because
there's
like
a little bit of fat that needs to be trimmed from this
yeah,
movie, or maybe a bit more than just a little. But oh, yo, I want to talk about the frequency scene. I
Oh
really
yeah.
loved.
That's
That's
great.
probably that's probably like one of my favorite like smaller scenes in the movie where like he's getting like lectured from his boss of like I need pictures of Superman, who is
I
very
can't
J.
bel
Jonah Jameson
Yeah,
coded.
and like this
And
is the only time Perry White's ever like this, where he's like J. Jonah Jameson, where he's very intense. He has a full-on cigar, and like someone wants to tell me that J.K. Simmons saw that and then saw J. Jonah Jameson's like, I'm gonna do that.
I'm gonna be just like him when I'm older. And then but yeah, so you just get like a score, like a sweeping shot of the entire like New York area with like different scenes happening, and then
Yeah,
this high pitch happens. Like he gets, I think it hits Superman first, and then it hits the dogs.
yeah,
Like, and they noticed it, like the stray dogs and everything, and you just hear like, Superman, you're listening to this on a frequency only you can hear.
yeah,
I placed a lithium bomb, and I'm gonna bomb everybody.
yeah,
So clock's ticking. You got 5 minutes.
yeah,
And so you get this tracking shot that still follows him like out of the office, like going through like it's from outside the building, so you're peering through like windows of like what he does. And
yeah,
it's really funny. Imagine being someone in the movie just seeing this and you just think Clark Kent's about to commit suicide.
yeah. How do you
'Cause
explain
he
that?
just jumps out a window.
I'm just imagining like Perry is just like in the middle of this rant, and he turns around to like look over to where Clark is. It's like, where'd he
Clark,
go?
no!
And he looks to his right and just sees Clark just jump out the window. It's like, oh my god!
My God.
And then he looks out
And
the
then,
window and he sees him transform into Superman. He's like, wait a minute, what?
Holy skit.
Holy
But yeah,
spit!
So Superman gets over a manhole. It's like, holy shit, it's Superman. It's like, now get back. And he spins through a manhole,
He becomes a drill. Just zzz.
digs underground. And you know what? We need Superman to go back to doing whimsy bullshit like that.
Superman has unlocked the power of Dig Dug. Zzz.
Yes.
And
And then and then he's like, Lex Luthor, I'm sick of your shit.
yeah.
And then he falls for his arch nemesis, his number one weakness, not kryptonite, U.S. geography.
Yeah, let's say he gets a U.S. Geography lesson from Lex Luthor. And,
He learns about the basics of realty.
and basically, yeah, and Lex, that's another thing. It didn't really make sense to me at first, but Derek and Rex, I'm about to say Rex. Oh my god, I'm sorry, Seb.
Hey, it's me, Rex. I was always here.
and I've been here the whole time.
I knew it.
But yeah, Derek and Seb have really explained this stupid chimp brain here on Lex Luthor's plan, where he's trying to use the missiles to cause an earthquake in San Francisco, or is it actually San Andreas?
Yeah,
It's the San Andreas fault, right?
and
And
straight up San Andreas.
yeah, he's trying to basically cause that, like, what, 30 years earlier or whatever, but he's trying to cause that so that he can buy the real estate that's there, like, at super dirt cheap, and then basically transform it to however he wants and then sell it at a high price.
Yes.
And that's his plan
Yeah.
to get even richer.
Yes. So I think he was gonna destroy the land, buy it for cheap, develop it, and then sell it.
Yeah.
What a long-term plan that is, honestly.
Do you think he planned to destroy the Hoover Dam, or is that just like an extra thing? It's like, oh yeah, it could also just flood.
I think he had that with the intentions of just like destroying as much as he can to like just buy as much as he can.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the missile launches, but while this is happening, Lex throws a kryptonite necklace on him, which I forget how he does that. Does he just show him the kryptonite and he's just like able to do it?
Well, how he does it is he kind of tricks Superman to opening the lead box that, you know, the box he can't the box he can't see through. So he's just like, I wonder.
Fucking box.
I'm like, he's like, I wonder what's in this box, and then he starts to feel woozy. He's like, ah. And then Lex Luthor then puts the necklace on Superman, and he pushes him into the pool if memory serves there. And yeah, Superman, he basically tries to drown Superman, and he's like, "All right, time to go. Hey, Miss, what's her name?
Takbok.
Taskmaster.
Taskbok.
Task.
Taskbocker.
The lady
Sock and Bopper.
Lady Sock and Bopper. Yeah, so Lady Sock and Bopper, he's like, all right, don't do anything, we gotta get out of here. And then she's just like she's still at the pool, and she makes Superman promise to save her mother first, because she doesn't like this plan that's gonna kill millions of people or thousands.
A ton of people. And she's like, promise you save my mother first. It's like, yeah, whatever, fucking Miss Hamburglar, okay, I will. Yeah, sure, okay.
Yeah. I'm drowning here. Oh, help. He's doing the same noises as Frank when he's in their apartment during
Charlie.
when they're bug bombing their house. Oh.
Yeah. I'm gonna fucking I can breathe out with this hose like a scuba diver.
Like a scuba diver.
Dies immediately like down the hall.
Where's Frank? There he is.
Just face down dead.
But yeah, she helps Superman, and then he just full on flies through the roof and just gets out of there. Almost kills her, doesn't care. And then he does his like Superman thing and starts like trying to save as many people as possible by like saving Jimmy from the Hoover Dam as it's collapsing, pushing a bunch of little pebbles at a miniature so that we could block someone pouring like a glass of water.
Hey, they were good effects. That was a living, breathing town. What are you talking about?
Oh wait, those weren't sets. Yeah, Seb's right. That was a living, breathing town.
That was a real town. It was taken from a helicopter, and they actually almost flooded it for the sake of the art form. You just don't get art, Cade. This is art.
He does something else. I remember. He like goes underneath the entire like crust, right? Like the Earth's crust to like try to push up the cracks. He's basically trying to stop an earthquake from happening. And
yeah, actually,
and it's just
trying to brute force every solution.
Yeah, and like I kind of like that effect of him just basically pushing the Earth back up on the cracks. It's just like
and push it somewhere else.
Yeah, it feels like that scientifically would not work, but it's kind of whatever because it's Superman.
So does he take the missile that was sent and he like throws it in the space, or was he too late and it detonated?
I think it was too late and it detonated because it starts like forming an earthquake and everything.
Yeah.
But all of this is a fruitless effort because Lois Lane dies.
Lois Lane gets stuck underneath the Earth's crust, and it's pretty scary. It's very traumatic looking, honestly, with everything.
Yeah.
Who would have thought a death scene would have been shot traumatically? And Superman has to live for the fact that no matter how strong he is, there's nothing he could do to reverse death. So Cade, what does he do?
He reverses death.
Fuck! Shit!
He literally...
Damn it!
You know that one video where he's talking about like, I can't remember who the guy is. I want to say it's Angry Video Game Nerd or whatever, but it's like building up this these champions that win video games. He's like, I'm gonna do what every single video game champion does. That's right, we're gonna cheat.
Yeah, it's AVGN. It's like, Billy Mitchell we gotta harvest this power, and I think I know what we're gonna do. That's right, we're gonna cheat.
So that's what Superman does.
He took a sip. Originally, he took a sip of his hot sauce, but someone fucking spliced it with the sea. It's like, that's right, we're gonna cheat. Which, by the way, he won a defamation case that was against him, so that sucks. Yeah. It's a long story, but anyway, so yeah, Superman fucking cheats and breaks the laws of physics to reverse time itself.
And then,
dude, if I was Lex Luthor, I would be pissed.
The only
I'd be so mad.
That's twice now we watched a superhero movie where the main character just full on cheats. First Madam Web, now Superman.
This is my ultimate move. Breaks the game.
But yeah,
so Superman reverses time, is able to save everyone, or at least as much as he can, and he just fucking walks in to Lex Luthor, takes him to jail, and superhero ending.
But then they also reveal that also the whole bit with Lex Luthor that this entire movie is that he has hair. So everyone's like, is he actually being Lex Luthor? Because he's supposed to be bald, and he takes off the hair. And bald.
My eyes.
Yeah, there it is.
But yeah, so yeah, Gene Hackman is bald, and Superman arrests Gene Hackman, and then flies off, and then waves to the camera, and then the movie ends with the text flying towards you and scaring you.
Perfect.
It really did scare me. What a perfect movie, honestly. Like I feel like we should have talked a bit more about like how great everything is, but I feel like that will bleed a bit more into Superman 2 when we'll get to that.
Speaking of bleeding in Superman 2, we also forgot to mention that Lois Lane's she sort of figures out, but then she's like, nah, there's no ways that Clark Kent is Superman.
Who in
Superman.
Who in Dark Knight Rises realized that Bruce Wayne was Batman?
I mean,
was that Robin? Was that Jason Gordon-Levitt?
Yeah. He realized that this rich guy was like, wait, he's rich. He might be Batman. He's like the only person that like figured it out besides like the one guy who is the Riddler technically in but not really in Dark Knight. He's like he blackmails Fox, and it's just like, I want $10 million for the rest of my life, or else I will reveal that Bruce Wayne's Batman. And Fox is like, you're gonna threaten the guy who beats up criminals late at night and also one of the most powerful billionaires in the entire city? Good luck. And like at that nowadays that's kind of scary to think about. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Superman, or at least we were talking about Superman. But yeah, great movie. I'm very much,
I had a good time with it.
I'm more excited to talk about the next movie, Superman 2. Specifically, viewer, you may be wondering, which cut are we watching? We're watching the one that's considered the better version, the Richard Donner cut.
The theatrical cut. Oh wait, never mind.
Well, anyway, for the time being, guys, any closing thoughts?
Justice for Gene Hackman.
Yeah. Do you think he shaved his head for this role, just for like that one reveal?
Yeah. I think he did, actually.
No wonder they paid him so much. He had to sacrifice so much.
Wow.
But yeah, go watch the movie if you hadn't. As always, thank you guys so much for watching and making it this far. You can follow us on Instagram, YouTube. Consider subscribing, please. We have a TikTok, correct?
Yes, we have a TikTok. We got a Blue Sky.
Nice.
Blue Sky. Yeah, not Blue Sky Studios.
We don't have a Twitter. We are not going to call it its real name, so yeah.
Yeah, we don't endorse that here. We're
not about that. We don't do that here.
We don't do that here. But
so
go ahead. Do the outro.
As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
See you.
Bye-bye. I love you, son.